Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the drive home with Sean Patrick Bowley, going solo, flying solo for the second week in a row. So I got lots to talk about, though. Number one, I'm going to start right off the bat. Thank you for joining us. Like and subscribe to GametimeCT and for all the stuff we're going to be doing for the next few weeks. Got a busy bunch of weeks. Week. It's Thanksgiving week, and it's the best time of the year, but it's also crazy time. Especially if you're trying to do playoff points like I am. I'm going to start right off the bat on in all the stuff you might have saw on Instagram and everything. I screwed up Class S. I accidentally didn't carry a one or forgot a game or something, but Bloomfield was not in, and they still aren't in. Northwest Catholic wasn't in at the time too, but Nonawag won, denying points to Griswold Wheeler, and they were unofficially clinch a playoff spot in Class S. So Northwest Catholic is in. There's actually 2 spots left in Class S, and that Weaver Bloomfield game is going to be pretty big for the Warhawks. They could still pretty much get in if they lose, but it's going to take a little bit of help on their end. I have all my worksheets. I try to update this as much as possible, but it's just absolutely a mess. Thankfully, though, the Pequot is all caught up to the rest of us. And determining their points and bonuses and their potentials going into Thanksgiving week is going to be a little bit easier, thank goodness. With 2 games remaining, you got all sorts of ifs, and if they beat this team, whatever. Anyway, so not a big night, obviously. So if you're joining us, thank you again. We had games last night, starting off with St. Paul forfeiting its game to Naugatuck. It was Thanksgiving. It was Halloween week, and that was when they were supposed to play. Numbers were a problem. Weather was a problem. They were supposed to play this week, but given their issues, they decided no mas, and no worries about that. They'll go on to play Gilbert, Northwest, Housatonic, St. Paul, and then Nagy will obviously play Ansonia. So last night, Thursday night, Nonawag beat Amistad 46-6. Valley Regional line kept its very slim playoff hopes alive by defeating Coventry, Wyndham Tech, Bolton 56-12. I was at Weaver Hartford last night. Got to see the Hartford co-op with Jaden Booth just absolutely having a great game. 4 touchdowns, 3 through the air, 1 on the ground, and he had 2 picks, including 1 in the end zone that would have been the go-ahead score for Ellington. Knocks off Ellington and keeps them from qualifying. They qualify, though. Congratulations to the guys over at Weaver Hartford Public. As they were telling us after the game, me and Ned Griffin, there's a lot of egos and a lot of butting heads between the 2 former Thanksgiving rivals, but Weaver Hartford Public defeated Ellington in a shootout. That was back when they first formed, and then they've clinched the playoff by defeating Ellington 42-39. Aaron Latter was pretty good, too. He had 6 touchdowns. Passing, but they just could not stop Jaden Booth and his teammates, and they played great. And the freshman quarterback for Weaver played great too. Made a very poised touchdown pass, and he got rushed, found his man, went the distance that put him up 2 scores again. Also last night, East Haven defeated Bassick in Bassick's final SEC game. That's in Bassick's final SEC game. So East Haven 30, Bassick 12. Tonight, Berlin became the first team to go. Actually, they're going to be the only team to go. I don't even know this. No, that's right. Killingly also has a shot to go 10-0, but Berlin became the first team this season to go 10-0, and they absolutely just demolished Middletown to wrap up their regular season at 10-0. 44-6 was the final. Wasn't even close for Middletown. They didn't even have they were negative 30 and had a safety on their first play. Offensive play, and by then Berlin was up 16-0, and it was off to the races. But then everybody kind of got involved, and there was a lot of hoot and hollering. They were great in that game. So Berlin defeats Middletown 44-6. You can read all about it on GametimeCT.com. We'll have a few things on that. Elsewhere tonight, Glastonbury finished its regular season 7-3, a very good 7-3, with a 28-14 victory over Simsbury. That puts the Guardians, I'm going to look at, bear with me as I check all my, and by all means, all you coaches out there, if you think I got any of this wrong, I certainly have had guys contact me and said, no, you forgot Foreign played cross tonight. I'm like, shoot. Okay. But Glastonbury finishes their season 7-3. They're in line to get a home game. Maybe if Southington loses, they would be in good shape. I think they would pretty much get it if Southington loses, guaranteed a home game there. Or even if probably not Greenwich and definitely not New Britain and Prep. So they'll be probably getting there into the 4 spot. Glastonbury, Southington, if they beat Cheshire, however, would out points Glastonbury, even though Glastonbury beat them at 7-3. Remember, Glastonbury lost Platt, which kind of dropped them back. But Southington beat the teams with more points. And even though Glastonbury defeated Southington, if they both finished 7-3, Southington has a lot more points, and they're going to get that 4 spot. You're going to see a rematch. Most likely. I'm looking at that 4-5 game. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4-5 game. Glastonbury this time at Southington. Very, very different teams this time. That'll be a very interesting Class LL. So they await what goes on there. It goes on in the Apple Valley Classic. In Class LL, that still remains. NFA controls its own destiny. If it beats New London on Thanksgiving, the Wildcats will clinch that final spot. There's actually let's see here. And then if not, they'll open the door for maybe West Haven to get in there if they don't lose to beat New London, which they should do. And anything after that, it'll be kind of a mess to find out who does what or who can get that last spot. But NFA is in control their own destiny. They don't really need to go nuts on them. The Manchester East Hartford game still outstanding right now. Hang on. I don't see a score on that. Anybody? Yes. Absolutely. I will answer those questions in a second. But if anyone has a Manchester East Hartford score, I looked all over for it. They played at 6. They should have had it done by now, unless they're still scoring 100. I can imagine East Hartford 101, Manchester 95. We're going to the 4th quarter, folks. Just to quickly answer a question here, if Greenwich beats Staples, New Britain State number 2, that's a good question. Okay, let's take a quick look at that. The answer is if Greenwich beats Staples. It depends on Greenwich's bonus games. Here's Greenwich's bonus games: Fairfield Prep beating Xavier, Norwalk, McMahon, Notre Dame, West Haven, West Hill, Trumbull, and Ludlow. They get 15 points each for that, and then 10 for Darien, New Canaan winner. I'm sorry, 10 for Darien beating New Canaan, because they do get 5 for that game, as long as it's played, because they played both those teams. And then Wilton was beating Hill House. I'm going to assume, does that score come in yet? And the answer is no. But Wilton was beating, I'm reasonably comfortable Wilton will win that game and finish their season 9-1. I don't know the final score. I think it was like 30, I don't remember. Remember, guys, get your scores in. Please get your scores in as soon as possible. When you get back to the locker room or whatever, punch those suckers in, or somebody at CIAC. Maybe, let's get these scores in as fast as possible, because everybody's counting on them. But if Greenwich was to beat, they'll clinch a home game, but they were to beat Staples, I would start them off at 14-45. Did I just? No. 14-45 with 105. They got a ton of bonuses, and a lot of teams on that list are probably going to win. Fairfield Prep beats Xavier as they're supposed to do. Let's see. That'll help Greenwich. Is there an outside chance they could maybe get? Yeah, maybe. Well, Fairfield Prep originally, they get 5 points just for Greenwich winning. That's going to help them out right there. But that'll be 5-10, 15-10. Well, they're not going to get. I don't know. The answer is, well, let's put it this way. New Britain can get anywhere between 149.4, because they only have 9 games, 149.4 and 157.8. So you have to look at it as a Greenwich 1445. It would be, in New Britain terms, 144.5. I mean, Greenwich is already starting kind of behind them. Their bonuses are, well, they got the Simsbury one. I didn't calculate that yet. So they already have that in their favor. New Britain, that gives them 60. I don't want to do all the math here. It's looking more and more like, I mean, it's close. I can't really dive into it right now, but it'll be close. If Greenwich got a lot of good bonuses, let's put it that way. Can they catch him? Yeah. Is it likely? Probably not, because New Britain has more. They're not going to get Kennedy over Crosby, most likely. Hall Connard, Enfield South Windsor. If they get like a few of those, I think they'll be the 2nd seed. But Greenwich certainly has a shot. I hope that's not too convoluted for you. As I lose my place. Where am I? Here we are. Anyway, what else happened tonight? And you guys can argue amongst yourselves if you want to, tell me. I just don't have time to look at it beyond a cursory glance. Also tonight, Wilcox Cantor Tech defeated Vinyl Tech Goodwin 44-0. The Crack Colts looks like they wrapped up their regular season defeating Capital Prep 58-16. They are still on the outside looking in. They still have an outside shot at getting a state playoff berth, but it's very, very iffy. Where are we in Double S? Double S is kind of a nightmare, but let's take a quick look at Crack, where they stand right now. There they are. I was doing that right before we went live, so I gotta give me a second here. So that's 1060. They're gonna finish anywhere between 120, 25, 1060. This is what I have to do. This is very annoying. 1060. They have 35 guarantees out there. So wow, 1095, 95. They're in trouble. They're going to need a lot of these teams to lose, but they're hanging on by a thread, I guess. 1060 plus 35 plus 25. Yeah, watch Sean do math. I was terrible at math in high school, as I can attest to. 1120 is their high, correct? And that's not great. I think you want to be in the mid 11, like in 1165 is a good round number. But Ellington losing certainly help. I mean, they're not going to catch them. Ledger, the whole thing, the whole thing is a mess right now in Double S because Ellington lost, and if they lose to Rockville, which is not out of the realm of possibilities, certainly because Rockville's pretty good, Ellington's gonna max out at 1125 at the very least, or it can get as high as 1150 because they only have 25 bonuses out there. So they're anyway 1150. Ledger can get that. New Fairfield can certainly get that, or they're going to surpass that most likely, even though they don't have a great bonuses there. If they defeat New Milford, and then Plainville will definitely get that. They'll surpass that. So Ellington really needs to win that game. Plainville's the last one. Ellington's going to need one of those teams to, if they don't, well, first of all, they got to win that game. If they win that game, Ellington is in versus Rockville. If not, that'll drop them, to 1125, 1150. So let's just give them the least amount possible. 1125. Ledger, yes. New Fairfield, yes, with a win. Plainville, absolutely. And Waterford, absolutely. All those teams look like they are going to surpass Ellington if Ellington loses that game. So Knights, I know it's a tough loss last night. You guys fought hard, but now you got to go beat Rockville. Or one of these teams could lose, but look at their. Well, I'm sorry. No. Yeah, well, Plainville is the really interesting one. 1180. Yeah, it's just the points. I'm looking at. They're 7-2, and I'm looking. I'm like, how is this possible to be? But it's just the points and who you play. If you play, it's better off losing to a bad team and beating two good ones because it's like double the points. Or beating one good team and losing to two bad teams. That's what I meant. Don't listen to me. It's been a long week. But, so if Plainville defeats Farmington this week, Farmington is an L school, and that means they get an extra 30 points from being in Class Double S. That's two levels above them, M and L. So they get 30 points. That's huge for Plainville. If they beat Farmington next week, they'll start off at 1165, and Ellington loses. They can't even get there. So that'll be a really interesting race there. I mean, New Fairfield probably shouldn't lose to New Milford. Ledger, Fitch, I could see Ledger winning. I could see Fish winning. That game is crazy. The winner there, Fitch isn't in this, but if Ledger wins that, Ellington, that's in one more off Ellington. There's only 4 spots left here in Double S. I'm sorry for confusing everybody. I'm just going through it all. But if Plainville wins, Ellington won't get them. If New Fairfield wins, they won't be able to get that. This is if Ellington loses. They won't be able to get New Fairfield, and Ledger. They won't be able to get Ledger. So, and that'll leave one spot there, 1185. And even Waterford finishes 6-4. they could probably catch them, right? Am I reading this right? Yeah, absolutely. All right. All right. More scores, and then I'll take questions. I want to know the foreign. First of all, I want to know the foreign cross score tonight, and then I want to know the Manchester, unless it's up here yet. Foreign cross, no, not up there yet. Hillhouse Wilton, not there yet. But I'm going to assume Wilton won. Manchester East Hartford, that's the other game. But correct wins over Capital Prep. Hey, Morgan, Old Saybrook, Westbrook won its first game of the year. Congratulations, guys. They avoid the 0 for season, beating SMSA Co-op 42-24. So congratulations. Nice job. Go get them next year, though. North Brantford continued to boost its Class S resume. They are in already, but they're just all about seeding now. But they basically knocked Granby Canton out of the race with a 26-6 victory over at I believe that was at Cole Foddy Field. And then Rockville, as mentioned, set up that big Ellington game 42-0 over Coggin-Chog, East Hampton, Hell Ray. So those are the games tonight. Tomorrow, Enfield South Windsor is a pretty big game, 11 o'clock. At South Windsor. South Windsor desperately needs that to stay in the race, and Enfield also is in that same class, and they need to win to keep their hopes alive. Let me just open this up. This is L, right? Yeah, L. Enfield on the outside looking in, and South Windsor at the 9 spot. The loser of that game is pretty much toast. Is toast. But the winner is not done yet. Enfield needs a lot of points compared to South Windsor, but South Windsor needs to win to have any kind of shot. The other big game is Bloomfield at Windsor across the way. And as I mentioned before, and I'm sorry if I confuse everybody, Bloomfield is not in. They really need to win that game. Otherwise, they're going to be counting points next week. Ansonia wins. That's not going to be good for them. If Noggin knocks off Ansonia, Bloomfield will actually, according to my calculation, will actually pass. There's no way Ansonia is going to get them, and then that kind of opens the door for Griswold Wheeler. But there are 2 spots remaining there between those 3 right now. And then Windsor, it's up to the seating for Windsor where they're going to end up. And I'm going to open my Class L sheet up. And right now, New Canaan. That's not Class L. They're at double M. They should be Class L. Here we go. Windsor. Windsor. They're between 1580 and 1675. That's a lot. They have a lot of. Simsbury lost, so they don't get those. East Hartford, Manchester. That would help. Their bonus just went down. 80 bonus. So let's see here. I'm going to check out Windsor for a second. 395 plus 170 for beating Bloomfield plus 1580 plus 80. So their high is 1660 right now. The East Hartford game still outstanding. They get that 1660. Really depends on what bonuses. It's a tight race between the top seed Wilton and Windsor right now. Windsor loses to Bloomfield, obviously that drops them out, but they're not going to fall anything. They're going to get a home game in the playoffs because they'd only have 2 losses. Middletown finished up its season. They can only finish anywhere between 1170 and 1245 with all the bonuses they have out there. So they're waiting to see what happens. Bunnell plays Stratford. They're looking for I think a win will give them a home game. Newington has a chance to jump over Middletown if the Nor'easters can beat Wethersfield in a really big pivotal for Class Double M game on Thanksgiving Eve. Let's take a quick look at them. Yeah, Middletown it's max. It's the most points it's going to get. It's not even going to get this, but the most it can get is 1245. And Newington with a win will start at 1265. So Newington in a good spot to get one of the 4 home games now that Middletown has lost. And then, I mean, this whole thing down here is a mess. I kind of laid it out on Game Time CT about what all these teams need. The Wethersfield Newington game is basically winner take all. Winner will go in. You have Fitch versus Ledger. They need to win to get in. Torrington is a win to get in, but they're pretty close as it is. I don't know, because they lost. Let me just take a quick look. Torrington is anywhere between 1125 and 1190. Can Wethersfield get there? Wethersfield can certainly get there. Yeah, absolutely. Can Massac get there? That's the big one. So Massac needs to beat Newtown, or they're sunk, or they make that a race. Plainfield, Quinnebog, Valley Panthers. They're going to need a couple of those teams to lose. And then there's Cheney Tech, which needs everybody to lose, basically, and they need to beat Prince, too. And Plainfield has to play Griswold, and that's going to be really tough. But everyone staying with me here? No, hey, Dave, someone asked if New Britain, why only 9 games? It's because of the Weaver. I think it was because of the Weaver-Hartford thing. That was, I think I know Weaver was in the Pequot. I think Hartford Public was their other game. I think that's what happened. So, okay. So yeah, what else is tomorrow? Tomorrow, Cheney Tech, Prince Tech. So you're going to know right now whether Cheney Tech's going to find itself in that Class MM race. They can beat Cheney Tech. Sorry, if they beat Prince Tech, they will start counting points. And then you also have the Mayor's Cup tomorrow. That's Conard and Hall. Neither team has any shot at a playoff berth, so it's all for pride. Hall has had the best of that rivalry of late. It's always a good game. If you're not going to Yale Harvard tomorrow, like a lot of us intend to, I think I want to go to that game tomorrow. I'm gonna miss Bloomfield Windsor, but what are you gonna do? That's a pretty big opportunity to go down and see Yale Harvard. So that'd be really fun. 60,000 people supposed to show up. So I mean, I don't know how. I don't think I'm gonna be able to drive there, but it's a big, lots of big results tomorrow. Beginning with Enfield South Windsor. Like I said, winner is gonna stay alive. Losers out. Bloomfield Windsor. Windsor boosts its profile. Look for that one of the top seeds. It's in a race with Wilton. And then Bloomfield needs to win to get in, or otherwise it's going to need a little bit of bonus help. Let's actually take a quick look at the Bloomfield situation. I don't know why I screwed that up. And then I looked at our Instagram. It was like posting all this stuff, and the mistake was there for everybody to see. So, where are we with? Did I finish this one? Yeah. Yes, I did. So right now, all right, Northwest Catholic is in. Bloomfield with a loss. Let's win, they're in. So let's remove that for a second. With a loss, they start at 1265. And the thing here is, can Griswold Wheeler catch them? We'll take Ansonia out of it for a second. Because right now, let's factor Ansonia. Let's say they beat Naugatuck. So that's one spot remaining. Comes down to Bloomfield loses to Windsor, and then you have Griswold Wheeler beats Plainfield Quinnebog. Now, that's really fascinating because Plainfield, Quinnebog Valley, that's Putnam, Tortola, Ellis Tech, they combined to have this massive co-op. And that used to be, just a standard 100 points for a win and then 10 points for every one of their wins. Now, though, Plainfield Quinnebog is in Class L. Right? Is that what it right? I just want to check. No, they're Class MM. So they get more points. They get another 10 points, which all the points matter. So 10 points can go a long, long way. So they get an extra 10 points just by playing their rivals. They didn't do anything different, just their rivals did. So here it is. In Class S, Bloomfield with a loss would start with their guaranteed bonuses. They would start at 1265, right? Then they would need Rocky Hill to beat Cromwell, Plainville to beat Farmington. Both of those are possible. I mean, Cromwell's probably the favorite in that game. Rocky Hill, Plainville, and then Tolland over E.O. Smith. I think E.O. Smith has the edge in that game. And then they get 5 points for Ansonia beating Nogget. So we'll give them that 5 points. That's 1270. And then you have 45 other that's 3 games, 45 bonus points there. So 1270. Griswold Wheeler, they beat Plainfield Quinnebog, 170 points to them, plus 5 for the Woodstock Killingly game. Let me just take a quick look. 105. No. 1055. Jeez. 1055 plus. Oh, I lost it. No, here it is. Griswold Wheeler, 1055 plus 170 for beating Plainville, plus 5 guaranteed points, with 80 bonuses on the table. Montville over Wyndham, Ledyard over Fitch. I mean, could go either way. Woodstock over Kinley, probably not going to happen. Not to shortchange Woodstock, but probably not going to happen. Let's say they get Ledyard over Fitch. That's 15. Let's say Montville over Wyndham too. Montville's been playing better. So 15, 50, that's 30. Bacon over Ram, I think that's going to happen. 15, that's 45. Stonington really struggles against Westerly, and they've been kind of sinking. Let's not give them that. Let's say Seymour does not beat Woodland. That's only 5 points anyway. And then East Line. Let's give them those 5 points. So 1, 2, 3, 45, 50. I can see Griswold Wheeler getting 50 relatively conservatively. So 150, let's see. We get them to 1280. So Bloomfield's going to need a little extra. Keep that. You want to give them more. It's a tight race between those two. It's going to be a very tight race. Or Plainfield could lose. Now, if Ansonia drops, they lose, and they fall into this 3-game race. Griswold Wheeler and Bloomfield are going to go because Ansonia can only max out with a loss at 1250 total points and divide it by 10. But 1250, and Griswold Wheeler is going to get. Or am I wrong on that? No. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong one. 12. And Griswold Wheeler is going to probably easily catch that. So Ansonia needs to win. You need to win, Chargers. That's it. Bloomfield, do whatever you can. You got to beat Windsor, or it'll be close. It'll be very close with Griswold Wheeler. Griswold Wheeler has a real puncher's chance here. Can Plainville get the number 6 seed in Class SS? Well, they have a lot of good points out there, right? GNH over St. Paul. Tolland over Yo Smith, probably not going to happen. Rocky Hill over Crummell, Portland. And then East Catholic beating Northwest Catholic. I mean, out of all those, I only say they get 15. So let's see. If they beat Farmington, this is if you beat Farmington, 985 plus 20 guarantees plus 15. I only said 15, so 1020. No. Sorry, I didn't give them the victory over Farmington. 160. 1180 would be where Plainville would end up. Waterford's probably not getting there if they won. 1180. New Fairfield, they could vault New Fairfield. I could see that. 1180. Prince over Cheney, Weston over Barlow, Mills over Avon. Does that go either way? Stratford, Bunnell, Pop Rog, ND Prep. Let's give them that. O'Brien over Platek. Platek's in a playoff race. Let's not give them that. 10. Let's give Mills over Avon to them. So that's 30 points, which gets them to New Fairfield to 1055. And I'm sorry, is that right? No, I'm sorry. Man, I keep looking at the wrong ones. So 11. I figured Plainville for 1180. Let's do this. 117. No, that's Ledyard. 1005. Beat New Milford. That's 120. 15 guarantees plus 1140. And I said what? 30 points. 1170. And what I say, 1170. I think Plainville could probably vault over New Fairfield. I mean, unless they're not going to get Ledyard, no matter what. The one is Ellington. If Ellington loses to Rockville, I think there would be your 6th seed right there. If Ellington loses to Cromwell. If Ellington loses to Rockville, and then Ellington loses to Rockville, they'll catch them. New Fairfield beats New Milford, but doesn't get all the bonus points. It gets an iffy bonus point. Yes, I think they can get it. I absolutely think you can get it. Let's take a look at Waterford real quick. I mean, if Waterford beats East Lyme, They're just not getting those. Stonington, Plainfield, Ledyard, 10, 15, and Sheehan over Lyman Hall, 15. So you're going to get 15. Let's do Waterford. 955 plus 160 for beating East Lyme. 25 guaranteed plus, let's do 15. 1155 Waterford. And what I say, 1180 for Plainville? Yeah. Plainville's in a really good spot. We got to beat Farmington. Otherwise, you're not in any spot. Any other questions tonight? Do we have those scores from, look at me. I look like Tiny Tim over here. It's that kind of type of year. So busy. Do we have any scores? Danny, what do we got? Any scores out there? I need to know for no Wilton Hill House yet. And Foreign Lacrosse, and no Manchester East Hartford. Anybody know those? Chime in now. Let's check the interwebs. I don't see anything on Hill House. I mean, I'm pretty sure. Let's take a look at the last time. Wilton was up 35-0 at the half. I mean, they won. I just don't know the score. I don't know the East Hartford score either. And that's a big one. A lot of teams are kind of a lot of teams are counting on East Hartford or Manchester, giving them points, especially all those double L schools. Crowdsourcing. This is crowdsourcing right now. Rick Volk, who I just saw over at Berlin. This is crowdsourcing. This is me begging people for scores on YouTube on Friday night when everyone else is out. I'm home doing this. All right. I mean, I'll take any questions here for state playoffs. I got two here. What do you got? What do you got, Corey? East Hartford won 46-0. Wow. Defense, finally. It took them forever. East Hartford play a little defense finally at the end of the year. Go out in the season high. They couldn't play defense all year. They get to their rival and they oh, East Hartford, man, have a season. At least it was fun, I guess. I know you were 2-8, but my goodness, what a season, East Hartford. I think they allowed 400 points, but they averaged 35 points a game. That's unbelievable. All right, so I'm gonna have to recalculate some of this stuff. All right, what do we got? What other questions we got? What do I think of Ludlow getting to the playoffs? Well, Ludlow needs to. Well, hold on. Right, are they in? Or no? Ludlow still needs to win to get in. Yeah. Well, let's get in first, Ludlow. I mean, can't beat Ward. I'm going to say you're. It won't matter, I guess, right? So, how I like Ludlow. Ludlow has been playing great all season long. They had a tough schedule, and they just lost all those games. The one they got finally, one was against Staples. That was a big one. They were banged up against Greenwich. Played great to start for Greenwich to turn on the Jets. They weren't. I mean, St. Joe has been St. Joe recently, but they didn't give up in that game, Ludlow, and they look good. I like the running back, Liam. I think he's good, and the quarterbacks have been great, and they just play hard. They just play hard. We'll see where they end up though, Ludlow. It's my mom's alma mater, so she'll be happy to know they're going to the playoffs. I thought she went to Roger Ludlow. She doesn't think Fairfield Ludlow is the is the real school. So that'll be interesting. What else we got? All right, we got New Britain point. We got New Britain questions here. All right. New Britain's tough to well, they're not that tough anymore because their season's over. But I'll lay it out for everybody here. The New Britain Greenwich Fairfield Prep thing. One of those games. Let's see. New Britain can finish anywhere between 149.4 points. This is the average now because they only play 9, and 157 points. They have 60 bonuses out there. Kennedy beating Crosby, probably not happening. Hall beating Connor, possible. Let's give him to it. 15. Let's say South Windsor beats Enfield. So that's 15. So let's say Southern beats Cheshire, 30. And then in this scenario, let's say Fairfield Prep wins. They beat Xavier, which they probably should. So 15. That's 35 extra. Hang on. 35 extra. So that's 13. Wait. Well, I got to make sure the points are right on this. New Britain, 1345. Where do I have them at? No. There's so many windows on my geez. Where's my double L sheet? Here it is. 1345. Oh, they got a win. They got points. I don't know where from though. 13, let's say 1345. Was probably a game I didn't have listed here, which 1345. Let me just take a look. New Britain. Oh, Glastonbury. That's where they got those points. Okay. Glastonbury defeated Simsbury tonight. So they got 15 points. 5 for Glastonbury's win, and then 10 for beating Glastonbury. So New Britain's at 1345. The only guarantee they had, let's say, well, they don't have any games left. 1345 plus 15 for whoever, it doesn't matter who wins because they get 15 points anyway. That's a guarantee. So that puts them at 1360, right? 1360, and they have 60 bonuses outstanding. Kennedy over Crosby, Hall over Connard. Let's give them that 15. Well, no, yeah, let's give them that 15. Enfield, South Windsor, let's say no. So let's say Southern over Cheshire, toss up, and then 1395. This is what I think they'll get. 1395 divided by 9 is 155, which is very high. And if Prep wins, let's see if Prep has any extra points I didn't count. If Prep wins 1360, yeah, 1360, they beat Xavier. They get 15 from North Haven, West Haven, and then they have 70 bonus points. 1505. They need to get to 1550 to surpass New Britain. Here we go. Sheehan over Lyman Hall, yes. Shelton over Amity, let's say yes. Sorry, George. Maloney over Platt, let's say yes. That gets them to 1550 right there. 1, 2, 3. Their bonuses are good. Law's going to probably beat Foreign, 1365. Let's say Greenwich over Staples. I love Prep's bonuses. And then Hand over Guilford. I think Fairfield Prep is going to max out pretty much. Let's say Amity beats Shelton, right? So, because let's deny them those points. 1560. And what did I say for New Britain? 1550. I think Fairfield Prep definitely has the inside track on the number 1 seed. Greenwich can max out and get there, but they're not getting it. So it's looking like New Britain's going to be the number 2 seed. And if Fairfield Prep wins, if Fairfield Prep loses to Xavier, I don't know what to say about double L, except look out. But New Britain can get the 1 seed there. So they're looking like the 2 right now. And if Fairfield Prep wins. What's going on? Absolutely. They the question before the table is the difference between 1 and 2 irrelevant because those teams can only meet in the finals at a neutral location? Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much you want to give home field advantage. I mean, if you're not a particularly great team, do you get 20 more points for playing at home? No, not the NFL. I mean, there could be some advantage to that. I'm sure there is in certain cases, but being 1 or 2, it's just all about who you match up against with. And there are some divisions, frankly, you want to be on one side of the bracket rather than the other. It's just the way that works out. South Windsor, Enfield. I mean, South Windsor's been playing great. They got beat. Someone asked me about that game tomorrow, but Enfield's been just a wacky team all year. I like the South Windsor running backs, been playing pretty well. I haven't seen either of the team in person, so there's not much else I can say about it. But certainly South Windsor's made a little run here to get into the playoff position. That should be a fun game. I went to that game once a couple of years ago. It was pretty good. So that is. Let's see if we have any scores here, and if not, I'm gonna call it a night. But that is a. Did anybody clinch tonight? Is a great question that nobody asked me that I just kind of came up right now, and I don't think so. Last night, Northwest Catholic qualified, and that was it. So, anyway, what else you got? Any other questions? Playoff questions? No. Hang on. Yes, I did see that. I was at the game. Someone asked about Berlin. Middletown is at the game. All Berlin all the time, man. They have so many weapons. Middletown was backs against the wall right from the start. I mean, before even right, it was they didn't have they had one offensive play for like minus 30 yards and a safety. And they just pinned their ears back. Berlin, they're fired up, 10-0. That's great. Killingley has a chance to join them at 10-0, but now we'll see where they end up with St. Joe's. That'll be fascinating. But those two teams are going to be the 1-2 right now. The Middletown band was excellent. Yeah, Middletown band's great. New Britain band's great. I haven't seen them in a while, but Hill House band is always great. There are a bunch of others. Oh, Hand band at the Surf Club. Guilford Hand coming up. That'll be fun. All right. So I'm going to check one more time for any scores here. We did get that Manchester score. Someone said it was 46-0, which is absolutely stunning, considering that they couldn't play defense all year. But hey, better late than never. Go out on a high. What else you got? Let's just see if those. Wilton won that game. It was 35-0 at halftime against Hill House. They're going to finish 9-1. The Battle of the Bands. Weaver clinched last night. That was I was at that game against Ellington. Weaver. They just couldn't stop Jaden Booth, and they couldn't stop some of the other teammates. And the freshman quarterback played great. His name alluded. Chloe Caden. I'm sorry, I don't have it here, but he's a freshman. He's going to be pretty good. But Jaden Booth was great. We got Rockville. They're in. Let's take a look at Rockville. They got Ellington this week. Ellington needs that game now. That's high stakes. And Ellington can still get in with a loss, but I don't think they want to back in like that. Well, I guess you'll get it any way you want. But Ellington in a tough spot all of a sudden. Rockville's very tough. It's a mess in that. Plainville's got a really good road. They can beat Farmington. Ledger will get in with a win. This is double S I'm talking about now. New Fairfield should beat New Milford 1, 2, 3. Those spots should be wrapped up. Really, all comes 1, 2, 3, 4. All comes down to Ellington now. Can they beat Rockville? And Waterford on the outside looking in, they could get into that race too. Actually, New Fairfield. I'm sorry. Did I say that before? Waterford has a real 1, 2. No, not really. 1/5. Mathematically, Waterford has a chance to catch New Fairfield. New Fairfield's bonuses aren't great. Anyway, I thought Rockville already clinched. Did I get that wrong? Or am I not remembering it right? I don't even remember. I don't even remember what I did this morning. Let's take a look at that. Oh, yes. Rockville needed to win to get in, so they are in. Congratulations. So Rock, thank you guys. Rockville got in with their victory tonight. Who they played? Coggeshall. What was that last night? Yeah, Cognac, 42 to zip. So there you go. All right, one more time. Going once, going twice, going 3 times. Foreign Wilbur Cross. That score we need. We need to get that into calculated because there's a lot of teams. Law, for example, want to know what the foreign points are worth. Anybody who beat Cross or hoping maybe they can pull off another one. But yeah, so there you go. So with Rockville getting in tonight, that means there are 30 spots taken and 18 up for grabs going into Saturday. Bloomfield, as we mentioned, can win to get in tomorrow. I think that's it. I think so. Unless Enfield South Windsor, I think that will definitely eliminate somebody, but other than that. But okay. All right. Any other questions as I wrap up this drive home? We've been on 40 minutes now or so. All right. We'll see. Ellington Rockville setting up to be a really good one because it's starting. The stakes are just getting real high for that game. But we shall see. Let me just take a quick look at Ellington sinking. They needed to win that game to get in. Now they need to beat Rockville or saving that. Hope Waterford can't catch them because I think the other one's done. Maybe New Fair. I don't know. Well, no, I already mentioned that. New Fairfield will not. Does it matter? No. It's not fun having 6 windows open with different playoffs and they all look the same. If Ellington loses 11-25 to 11-50, if New Fairfield loses, they're not going to lose. Well, that would knock them out. But New Fairfield's not a shoo-in if they win 11-40 to 12-15. But they're probably going to get in over Ellington, so I wouldn't worry too much. New Fairfield, I think you're all right. So Ellington, maybe Ledger losing would help Ellington out if they don't beat Rockville. That's all you need to do. That's the easiest way to get to the playoffs is you just win your games, right? Okay, we don't have anyone on the foreign law. Anyone have that one? As I wrap this up. All right. We got the meat grinder. Yeah, we got a whole Thanksgiving extravaganza preview, what have you. We'll once we get through Saturday. We'll know the situation going into the final week. Games start Tuesday, and then we go Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thanksgiving, and that is it. We are done, and we are on to the playoffs. And remember, the playoffs aren't official until the CIAC football committee meets Friday morning. So anything we say here is null and void. But 100 times out of 100, they've approved the points as is. It's really just a formality. It's a rubber stamp, but they just want to make sure there's no issues. No, last question. No. Yeah. Well, New Britain's going to end up. If Prep wins, Prep's going to be the one. But New Britain looks like they're going to be the 2 unless they get some extra help. So we'll see. All right. Been on long enough. No other scores in. Obviously, foreign's big. Foreign cross. We'd like to get that. Get your scores updated, coaches, because there's going to be a ton of them. And, as these games go on, we're going to want to know what the situation is before we go to bed. On Tuesday night and Wednesday night, especially. I get like 3 hours sleep on Wednesday to Thursday. It's crazy, but it's all about get these playoff points, man. And as you can see me sitting here trying to figure it out live, which is a first. So anyone other questions? I'm going to shut it down for the evening. So I think we'll just call it a podcast and, excuse my rambling. It's hard to do this by yourself while you're calculating playoff points, but we're going to have more on Game Time CT as we go. So thanks for joining us and happy Thanksgiving week. It's finally here. So peace.